Hey everyone, my name is Brady Veliconia, and this is my friend and former colleague, Amber Tollerud, history teacher at Sisters Middle School. Hi, Amber. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And so today I wanted to co-lead a history minute with Amber and talk about someone who historians think might have been the richest person to ever live. This guy's name is
Mansa Musa.
awesome. So
So,
tell us about Mansa Musa.
of course. So, Mansa Musa is the famous ruler of the Malian Empire, though famous among historians, not as well known among the public for being one of the wealthiest, possibly wealthiest man that has ever lived.
I never knew about him until I was a teacher. I never learned about him in
Yeah.
school.
So, he's often skipped over in history, which I think is a shame because it's really a fascinating story about how he came to rule and then the type of leader he was. So he actually came to power after his predecessors, so the king that ruled Mali before him, decided to get a little adventurous with the Atlantic Ocean, wanting to see what was out there beyond his empire's reach, see if he could become ruler of more than just Mali, as far as the light can see kind of scenario. So at first he sent a crew of about 400 ships onto the Atlantic Ocean. Only one came back, is the rumor.
Okay. All right.
And they spoke of a river in the ocean, which historians are unsure. They were talking about a current or just kind of some myth that was out there.
Yeah.
And so he was really intrigued and decided it was time for him to see what was out there himself.
And we're talking like the 1300s.
Yes.
This isn't like
Pre-Columbian,
yeah. So this is prior to Columbus, landing in North America. I mean, for a major sea expedition of that size, that's impressive in and of itself.
True adventure, not knowing what's out there and not really hearing about having been done before. Like they didn't know what was out past the Atlantic Ocean at the time. So he decided it was time to see it for himself. He got together 2,000 ships, sailed off, left Musa, soon to be Mansa Musa, in charge, and never returned.
Yeah. So the Malian Empire is modern day West Africa. It includes the modern day country of Mali, but also Ghana, the Gambia, other Western African, current Western African nations. So really large, expansive empire. So what really, besides this expedition that left Mansa Musa in charge of the empire, tell me a little bit about his big Hajj and maybe a little bit of background behind that.
Yeah, so Mansa Musa was a very pious ruler, meaning that he cared a lot about religious devotion. He was Islamic, and he wanted his kingdom to be a symbol not only of power and might, but of religious scholars and of academic kind of achievement. So he set out on a Hajj to showcase the Mali Empire's wealth. A Hajj would be a journey from the kingdom of Mali to Mecca.
Yeah, it's part of the pillar. It's one of the pillars of Islam, is like making the Hajj or making the trip to Mecca, which is the Hajj. Yeah. And so he travels there. How does he show off his wealth on his journey?
So he brings a caravan of 60,000, it's rumored, with his lead wife, tons of slaves, and then 300 camels, each carrying, or 80 camels, each carrying 300 pounds of gold with him. So we're talking
80 camels with 300 pounds of gold each.
Yes.
Wow.
And thousands of slaves and a whole entourage with him. So really, he's not there to kind of sneak through the desert towns and just...
He's showing it off.
He's showing it off,
Yeah, he's flaunting.
He wants to be seen.
But did he just show it off, or what else did he do with this wealth? I know the answer, but this is like the crazy part.
Yeah, so he was very generous and with his wealth and kind of flaunted it about giving it away and spending lavishly. So he bought a lot of goods along the way from these cities. In fact, he bought so much with his gold that it's rumored he destabilized local markets, especially in the city of Cairo.
Yeah, so got to Egypt, gave away a bunch of money to poor people in the city, bought a bunch with his gold, so much to the point where gold pretty much became worthless. And it was like for 10 years, like they were still finding Malian gold in Cairo, and it wrecked the economy for a while.
Yeah, there's rumor that in Cairo, 12 years after his pilgrimage, they were still talking about his journey through.
Yeah.
Which is quite a long time to still be talking about that one trip the king took. So it left quite the impact.
Yeah, and so on his return trip home, because this trip wasn't like a week-long road trip, like this took a year and a half, 2 years. What did he bring back with him?
So instead of bringing back military conquest as many leaders would, he decided to bring back scholars, architects, and artisans to make his empire more beautiful and more well known for their ideas. So he was really interested in the minds along the way, not just those kind of physical treasures.
Yeah. And so I from my research, Mansa Musa brought back scholars, religious experts, architects. The mosque that he built in Timbuktu, which is an actual city in Mali, the mosque had, and the university that he built there as well, had the largest library next to the Library of Alexandria.
Yeah.
So think about that. The largest library to ever exist, second only is the Malian library was second only to Alexandria, and that was in West Africa. So.
And I think that's really important history to note because when we often think of West Africa, I think we have preconceived ideas of it, being part of that medieval Dark Ages time period. We're talking the 1300s. Yeah. We don't think of scholars and academia and great architecture. We think of kind of those Dark Ages that are more known as for Europe.
Yeah.
But here in West Africa, we have a beautiful empire that's flourishing.
One of the richest.
Yeah.
And I think you have to say, if it's not the richest, it is one of the richest to ever exist. So
yeah.
Anyway, awesome, Amber. Well, thank you so much for sharing with me and with the folks out there about the Malian Empire and Mansa Musa. If you have any comments, guys, put them in the comment section below. If you have any suggestions for future History Minutes, I'd love to hear them. And I will thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Amber.
Glad to have you back.
Yeah, for sure. Have a good one, guys. Bye.
Thank you.